We make things. We use our hands, minds, and machines to build, to fix, to improve. We're known as do-it-yourselfers, home improvement fans, fix-it fanatics, inventors. At our core, though, we're all makers. So let's jump in and make something. Hi, I'm Ron Hazelton. Welcome to the show. When it comes to countertops, well, there's laminate and tile and granite and quartz and solid surface material, and now concrete. Not only is concrete durable, but it can be crafted in hundreds of different colors and surface treatments. You know, until recently I would have questioned whether this was really a do-it-yourself project. Well, that was until I met Jeff Kurlick. Now, Jeff casts his countertops in molds you can easily make yourself. And the results? Well, stay tuned. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I've also got a great tip for you in keeping track of nuts, bolts, washers, springs, and other small odds and ends the next time you take something apart. Hey, how you doing? You know, I've always liked the natural look of the tile here in this bathroom, but on the other hand, I've never felt that this countertop and sink really goes with it as well as I'd like. Now, I've considered some options here. Thought about granite, but I don't think that's quite going to look right either. Don't really want to put more tile up here, and I don't want to laminate. So what I think I might be interested in, though, is concrete. That's right, concrete. So I've asked my friend Jeff Kurlick, who's a specialist in concrete countertops, to come over and have a look. Hey Jeff, how you been, man?
I'm good. Good to see you. How are you?
Thank
you. Thank you.
Okay, well here it is. What do you think?
I think you've got a fantastic opportunity for concrete countertops. You have a very natural look to the tile. A lot of colors involved there, so with the concrete we can pick up on any one of those colors because we can do 1,500 different colors of concrete.
1,500?
1,500
I gotta
colors.
choose one, eh?
You have to choose one. So we'll try and pick up on maybe a gray or a tan, and it'll look great.
So you think that the texture would be a good match for this?
The texture is very natural with the concrete, so with the little imperfections in the tile it'll go wonderfully.
Okay, great. Well, I'm sold. What do you got here?
These are strips of wood. What I'll do with these is we'll make a template of your existing countertop.
Okay.
We'll take the template, make our counter from that.
Okay. I'll let you go to work.
All right.
Jeff lays strips of 1/4-inch plywood along the edges of the existing countertop, then attaches them together using hot melt glue. When he's finished, he's got a template that will allow him to duplicate the exact size and shape. Then, Jeff and I make a trip to the Home Improvement Center to pick up the materials we'll need for the new countertop. Sand, concrete, rigid foam insulation, caulk,
and this material called melamine. Now this is actually particle board that has vinyl bonded to both sides. Now Jeff is going to use this to build the mold into which he'll pour the concrete. When the concrete is cured, he'll knock the mold apart, and it's this vinyl surface on here that will allow it to release easily.
Jeff goes to work cutting the melamine into smaller pieces that will be used for the bottom and sides of the mold. He places the template on top of a larger panel, traces the outline, then cuts the mold bottom to size. The laser on this miter saw makes it easy to align the cut. To make sure the sides are vertical, Jeff uses a block made from scrap that he holds against the inside surface as he nails. With all the sides in place, he makes a final check by test fitting the template in the mold.
Let me show you what Jeff's going to be doing.
Rather than cutting and boring the openings for the sink and faucet, they'll be molded into the countertop. This will be done by attaching forms to the mold bottom and pouring the concrete around them. Once the concrete has cured, the forms will be removed, leaving the openings.
So in the box that Kohler has supplied for you, there'll be a template for the sink. Great. And what we'll do with this, they provide an exact outline of the sink hole. We're going to cut this out. We'll create our form from that.
The forms are made from 1.5-inch thick rigid foam insulation. The sink template is laid on top and traced. Then the shape is cut out using a bandsaw. A jigsaw or long blade would also do the job. The edges of the form are wrapped in clear packaging tape. The tape will allow the form to release easily and create a smooth, finished edge on the sink opening. Next, Jeff uses a piece of 1.5-inch drain pipe to punch out small cylinders from the insulation. These too are wrapped in packaging tape. Finally, the forms are attached to the mold base with silicone to create what will eventually be the sink opening and holes for the faucets and spout. The seams in the mold are sealed with silicone to give the countertop edges a smooth, rounded shape. This spray-on tooling liquid will allow Jeff to get a perfectly clean, uniform bead by drawing his finger over the joint. The mold is finished and ready for concrete. First, dry concrete and sand are mixed together.
And we're going to start adding our color.
So what is this?
That's a oxide, which will make the concrete a deeper gray, sort of a soapstone color. And then this is our special mix, which we'll add in there, makes it strong, so that we've got the strength to hold up as a countertop.
This additive is a blend of plasticizers and other materials Jeff has developed from his own experience. With the dry ingredients thoroughly mixed, it's time to add the water. Mixing time is somewhat critical. Too much or too little can affect the strength, appearance, and pliability of the concrete. Next, the mixture is poured into the form, filling it about 2/3 full. An orbital sander held on edge serves as an excellent vibrator, leveling the concrete mixture, distributing the aggregate, and eliminating air bubbles. Then, steel reinforcing mesh and rebar is laid in place. The vibration causes it to sink to the center of the mold. Finally, more concrete is poured on top, and a piece of wood is used to screed off the excess. It'll take this concrete about a week to cure. I'm going to remove the existing countertop. To start with, I'm removing the vanity doors to give me plenty of work room. Then I shut off the water, take off the P-trap on the sink drain, and remove the supply lines. This molded countertop and sink is attached to the cabinet with silicone adhesive. I'm cutting through the silicone using a 2-inch wide putty knife. Next, I cut through the sealant along the edge with a sharp utility knife. This cold chisel that I've ground into a long taper works like a wedge, easily separating the top from the base. A flat pry bar finishes the job.
So it's been a week.
A week.
Now, it doesn't take concrete a week to set up, does it?
No, the concrete will get hard within about 24 hours. I like to leave it in the form for up to a week because that slows the curing process down. And what happens then is that the concrete will be stronger the slower it cures, and that will enable us to work with it, flip it over, start polishing it.
First, Jeff cuts the form for the sink opening into sections, then pries the pieces out. Next, he taps the sides of the mold apart and removes them. Together, we stand the countertop on edge and carefully remove the mold bottom.
Ta-da.
Finally, the tape-wrapped foam cylinders are pushed out, leaving the holes for the faucet fixture.
Easiest start on this corner here.
The edges of the countertop are smoothed and polished using a resin-backed diamond pad. Actually, the sides and top are polished 3 times with progressively finer pads lubricated with water. Sealing is the final step. This milky liquid will dry clear and make the surface resistant to stains and spills. While Jeff is finishing up the polishing, I go upstairs and begin installing the fixtures on the sink. Plumber's putty rolled into a coil and laid around the drain opening will make a watertight seal. The tailpiece is inserted from the bottom, hand tightened, and snugged up using a pair of multi-groove pliers. The sink will rest on these brackets or rails that Jeff installs on the inside of the vanity. The sink goes in first, the countertop will set on top. Now I can go ahead and mount the faucet and valves on the new countertop. These clamps will hold the countertop on edge, leaving my hands free to work. The valves and faucet drop in from the top and are secured in place by tightening a large nut on the underside. The ring of plumber's putty will make a seal on the top, preventing any water from dripping into the cabinet below. Whenever I possibly can, I attach fixtures to a countertop before I set it in place. It's a whole lot easier to do it this way than lying on my back in the cramped quarters of a vanity cabinet. The hot and cold water valves connect to the faucet via this tubing. It's here, in the faucet, that the mixing takes place. With everything tight and ready to go, I clean off the excess putty. A bead of silicone along the lip of the sink will seal it securely to the bottom of the countertop. One thing about concrete is it's heavy. The two of us are careful to keep the countertop vertical as we carry it in. When we're over the vanity, we lower it carefully into place.
We're clear.
The matching concrete backsplash attaches to the wall with a bit of silicone. Silicone is also used to seal the joint between the top and wall. All that's left to do now is attach the water lines, tighten them up, install the drain P-trap, and rehang the vanity doors.
Now, who would have thought that something that started out looking like this ended up looking as terrific as this? You know, it's made a believer out of me. As a matter of fact, I guess you could say I've had a concrete encounter. Whenever I'm disassembling something and end up with a lot of small parts like this, I get a little bit concerned as to whether or not I'm actually going to be able to get it back together. Now, one thing that helps me is to organize these pieces as I take them apart, and that means putting them in the proper order and labeling them. This is a technique I've come up with that's helped me a lot.
I start with a scrap piece of melamine shelving. Next, I apply strips of pressure-sensitive magnetic tape. And trim off the excess with a utility knife. When I'm disassembling something, I lay the screws, bolts, washers, springs, whatever, on the magnetic tape and label them as to where they go.
Now, my parts are organized, they're labeled, and if this gets tipped, they're not going to go anywhere. And the real nice thing is, when I'm finished, all I have to do is take a little cleaner, wipe this off, and it's ready for the next project. A little while ago, I took a fixture off the shop wall here, and I'm left now with a patch that is bare wood. Obviously doesn't match the surrounding finish here. So I want to recolor this so that it blends in. The only problem is, when I went out to pick up the stains, I couldn't find exactly the right color. So what I did is I picked out two. This one, it's primarily yellow, and this one, which is a lot more red. By intermixing these two, I should be able to come up with an exact match. Pigmented stains like these always need to be stirred thoroughly because the coloring agents tend to settle to the bottom. A baby syringe is the perfect tool for transferring small amounts to a mixing container. I add first one color and then the other until it looks about right. So I've got 2 parts of the more yellow stain and 1 part of the more red. Let's see how this looks here. Well, that's not bad. It's just a little bit too red. So all I'm going to do is go back over here, go to the more yellow stain, and put a little bit more of that in. Well, not bad, huh? So if you can't find just the right color stain on the shelf, don't worry about it. Buy some that are close and then mix them together. The possibilities are limitless.
To view today's projects again, visit ronhazelton.com, where you'll find hundreds of how-to videos available 24/7.